History is filled with the voices of powerful men, but sometimes the fate of an empire shifts because of a single quiet whisper. She wore no crown, she commanded no army, yet her influence shaped Rome more deeply than any emperor. In the marble halls of power, where ambition echoed like thunder, one woman ruled through silence. This is the story of Livia Drusilla, the unseen strategist, the shadow behind the throne, the Silent Empress.
History is usually written by those who speak the loudest, but sometimes the fate of an empire changes because of a single whisper spoken by the quietest woman in the room. Today, we tell her story, the woman who ruled Rome without a crown, who mastered power without raising her voice, Livia Drusilla, the Silent Empress, a queen in name, a strategist in spirit, and perhaps the most dangerous kind of power, the invisible one. The golden age of the Roman Empire. Everywhere you looked, power, glory, men in control. Women were expected to smile, adorn themselves, and obey. But in the middle of that world stood one woman, different, quiet, elegant, and utterly aware of her influence. When Livia Drusilla married Emperor Augustus, no one predicted her rise. Not the senators, not the philosophers, not even Augustus himself. But as his empire grew, so did her shadow behind the throne. Livia never gave orders. She simply suggested. And somehow, every suggestion became law. Rome was a city of marble and whispers. The Senate debated endlessly. Generals plotted openly, and citizens dreamed of conquest. And in the midst of it all, Livia moved like a shadow through the halls of power. She observed, she listened, and she waited for the perfect moment to act. A glance, a subtle nod, a softly spoken word, these were her weapons. A historian once wrote, Livia's silence spoke louder than the entire Senate. And indeed, her influence shaped the empire without anyone realizing it. Her power was invisible, yet absolute. At every banquet, she wore plain white, blending into the background, yet commanding attention without a word. At every debate, she spoke gently, yet every sentence carried weight. When others sought to rule through fear, she ruled through calm composure, patience, and calculated insight. Today, we call it emotional intelligence. Back then, it was considered divine wisdom. And that wisdom guided Rome more than any army or law ever could. As Augustus's empire expanded, so too did Livia's influence. Through quiet suggestions and careful persuasion, she positioned allies and subtly undermined rivals. Many accused her of poisoning and intrigue, but the truth was far subtler. She understood the psychology of power. One night, Augustus faced a crucial decision. Who would inherit the empire? The Senate was divided, tensions ran high, and the room was thick with uncertainty. Livia, unnoticed, placed a letter on Augustus's desk. She leaned close and whispered, "It's not the blood that matters, but the mind that keeps Rome alive." That night, the course of Roman history changed, and Livia became more than a wife or queen. She became the architect of influence itself. The halls of the palace held their own stories. Candles flickered across polished floors, tapestries whispered of old victories, and servants carried messages that only Livia could decode. Every movement, every gesture, every carefully placed word was part of a larger plan. She did not wield a sword or command an army, but she moved the pieces of Rome like a grand chessboard. And those who underestimated her often found their positions weakened without ever realizing why. In a world where men ruled openly, Livia ruled quietly but completely. She understood that power does not need to be visible to be absolute. She did not try to appear stronger than men. She simply made them believe that strength was their idea. Her beauty was not her weapon. Her restraint was. In that restraint, she built a legacy that outlived dynasties and echoed through history. Today, her methods resonate in politics, business, and media. The invisible advisor, the unseen strategist, the calm voice that redirects history without ever raising it. That is Livia's legacy. Look around the world today. There are Livia Drusillas everywhere. Some are political advisors, shaping the decisions of presidents. Some are CAOs, quietly steering companies toward success. Some are mothers, building empires within their homes, raising the next generation of thinkers and leaders. Their strength is not in domination, but in precision, observation, and influence. They read the room, they sense weakness, and they act before anyone even notices. Modern leadership has 1,000 names for it, but in essence, it is the same art, Livia's way of ruling without ruling.